Mikal Bridges' new jumper is gross, and the Knicks may be in big trouble. I'm Trevor Lane, and this is the Basketball Bulletin, a 100% independent basketball channel. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. All right, this is what's going on right now. The New York Knicks, like a lot of teams in the NBA, they would like to shoot more threes. This is Knicks coach Tom Thibodeau saying, Friday night, we took 36 threes. I'd like to see that number go up a little bit more, but we got to the line a lot. And again, the value of shots is important, so the layups, obviously, you're trying to get as many of those as you can get. Easy baskets, open threes. Thing is, everyone understands the value of shots. The math of the game will tell you certain things. If your opponent makes 20 and you're making 10, it's going to be hard to win that game. Ideally, would be a high volume and at a minimum league average percentage-wise. So Tom Thibodeau saying, yeah, the Knicks, we want to shoot more threes this coming season. But look what's happened so far in preseason play for New York. This is not pretty. You look what's going on behind the three-point line. Look at the two newest Knicks. Karl Anthony Towns, 17% from three. And then Mikal Bridges, 11%, and I'm rounding up to get there for Bridges from deep. Now, Karl Anthony Towns, he's a 40% career three-point shooter. 40%. I'm going to take him shooting 17% for 4 games as nothing more than a small sample size. I am not worried about Karl Anthony Towns. I'm not worried about the bright lights of New York, anything like that. Towns, he's going to be fine. Mikal Bridges, I'm terrified. I'm terrified. Why? Take a look at this. Mikal Bridges has changed his jumper, and he's added, he said he's trying to get rid of a hitch in his jumper. The hitch in his jumper now has a hitch in its jumper. What in the name of Markelle Fultz is going on here? He's trying this slingshot approach above his head, and it is not working. Miss after miss after miss. It looks ugly. Look, it would be one thing if it looked terrible and it went in. We've seen that. Sean Marion, his jumper was a disaster, but it went in enough to where it didn't matter. Think about Kevin Martin back in the day. His jumper, not pretty, but it went in enough. Mikal Bridges right now at 10%, and it looks this bad. That is cause for alarm in New York. Part of the reason why the Knicks added all of these wing players, part of the reason why they went and got Karl Anthony Towns was so they could space the floor better. I mean, look at this. Here he is in practice. Good Lord, like that one went in, but he's shooting the ball from well above his head. That's just all kinds of gross from Mikal Bridges. And right now the results are simply not there. So it would be one thing if these shots were going in, but they're not. They're not dropping at all. Here's Mikal Bridges. Look at the form that he used to have. The ball way more out in front of his body. He's following through with his release much better, and he decided to tweak it. Now, he said in some comments, and I'm going to get to those in just a minute, that this has been a 7-year thing for him, that he's been trying to fix his jumper. It wasn't bad. He was shooting 37% from deep. 37% in his career. There was no reason to completely alter his shot, to tear the whole thing down and try to rework it the way that he has now. This is certainly an issue for the Knicks because they built this whole team around spacing, around the ability to be super switchy on the defensive end of the floor. They went and got Bridges to help match up with the Boston Celtics. But guess what's going to happen if teams don't respect Bridges behind the three-point line? They're going to pack the paint. They're going to pack the paint against the Knicks, and that's going to be a big problem. In fact, now I'm expecting that opening night, the Boston Celtics are going to lay off of Bridges. They're going to sag off of him and make him prove that he can hit an open jumper. This was Bridges' comment. He said he's been trying to fix his jump shot for 7 years, trying to get his form back to where it was at Villanova. When I came out of college, I tweaked it a little bit. And then my second year in the league, I had a hitch and tried to build back from that. Once again, I mean, the old adage, right, is if it ain't broke, don't fix it. His jumper was not broken. He says there was a little bit of a hitch in it. Well, he's repaired a hitch by adding an even worse hitch. I mean, my goodness, what is going on? Like, there's a reason why sometimes doctors decide to just leave a bullet in, right? Somebody gets shot. Sometimes you do more damage pulling the bullet out than the bullet itself actually caused. Just ask Teddy Roosevelt. He lived for much of his life with a bullet lodged on his rib cage because the doctors were going to do more harm by pulling the bullet out than they would by just leaving the thing in. Mikal Bridges, it wasn't perfect, but he's done a lot more damage trying to solve the problem than the problem itself really was. Again, look at this. 37.5%, 38% if we round up from three. And look at the volume. 7 attempts per game last season, 6.7 attempts per game the season before that for the Brooklyn Nets. And consistently, 37%. 37% last season, 38% the season before, 39% the season before that, 38% before that, 37% before that. Season in and season out, one after another. Boom, 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 boom. You can count on above league average three-point shooting from Mikal Bridges. Why on earth would he decide to tweak this, especially now, the New York Knicks, the way this roster is constructed, the way that it's set up? You look at the amount of money that they're spending. The Knicks, $23.3 million. Now, Mikal Bridges probably not going to do an extension this summer. Maybe he's going to regret that choice. He wanted to cash in on bigger money next summer, or perhaps even the summer after that. He wants to stay long-term in New York. That's been all the reporting, but maybe he should have just taken the deal if this new jumper is going to stick. Because how much time is it going to take to undo the damage that has been done here? If he goes back to his old shooting form, how much time does it take to unlearn this new form if the percentages stay this way? And let's face it, if we get into the regular season, which the Knicks kick off the regular season on Tuesday against the Celtics, and he's still shooting 10% from three, we get a few weeks in and he's shooting, at best 10 to 20%, let's say. Let's say it sticks in that range. You have to abandon this thing. You have to. You can't have a wing player like Bridges out there that isn't defended behind the three-point line. That's when you start getting into Ben Simmons territory. And if this is truly how bad this new jumper is, he's going to have to abandon it. But how much time is it going to take to tear down this jumper that he created and then go back to the old one? That could be a big, big problem for New York. Again, Karl-Anthony Towns, his three-point shooting's been bad, but $49 million this season, that obviously could be problematic if that sticks. But I mean, the math tells us there's regression to the mean coming for Karl-Anthony Towns. With Mikal Bridges, it's a very different story where it's not just that he's got a cold shooting streak going right now. There's perhaps reason for him to shoot this poorly. If Karl-Anthony Towns was suddenly shooting with his offhand or something like that and was shooting poorly, we could say, well, maybe he's not a good three-point shooter now. But that's not the case. Towns, his shot is going to come back around. Bridges dramatically altered his shot and now is seeing these terrible results. That's certainly concerning if I'm the New York Knicks, and it's going to be tested opening night on Tuesday. I can't wait for opening night, but my goodness, I sure hope for the sake of Mikal Bridges and the New York Knicks that this new jumper, the shots start falling, because the cries for him to go back to his old jumper, they're just going to get louder and louder and louder the longer he shoots this poorly. Right now, red alert in New York. Mikal Bridges' jump shot, certainly something to keep an eye on, because this could drastically limit the ceiling of the team if he can't get this thing figured out. Everybody, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Mikal Bridges' new jumper. What do you think of it? Can it be workable? Do you think that the percentages will naturally come up? Or is he just now, with this new jump shot form, which I think is pretty gross, is he just now a terrible three-point shooter? And what do the Knicks do if that's the case? Let me know in the comment section. Till next time, everybody. See ya and stay safe.